All right, the leftist lovers of all things Arab have just published a report highlighting their complete and utter failure in achieving their anti-Israel, Jew-hating goal of creating another Arab state in the heart of Israel. These are some unbelievable figures. I've sorted through piles of misinformation and lies that, of course, they state as fact, but truly, at the end of the day, I hope they're right about a few of their findings. Guys, hang tight, and we'll get right into the thick of it. I'm Joshua, and this is the Israel Guys. Hey folks, welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Swinging right into it, guys, we've got, these lefty Israel-hating groups that somehow penetrate into Israel and cause all kind of havoc and try to act like they are actually appreciated and they're trying to help the poor, pitiful other lefties that are trying to establish their own narratives and lies about what's actually happening. Well, one of those groups is called Peace Now. Don't you love it? They cover themselves up with such a great kind of like Peace Now. Sounds so great. Well, it's actually exactly opposite of Peace Now. And if you were to really dig deep into it, it's really, when you think about what Hamas wants at the end of the day, is to dominate Israel and take over and establish a state. Then they will use that hub to then take over all of Israel. I mean, that's what they want. And they're actually aligned in their missions. Let's establish another Arab state. Well, that's what this organization, Peace Now, wants. That's what Hamas wants. That's what all the terrorist organizations want, is to clean the Jewish presence out and establish yet another Arab state in the place of them. Now, they would probably disagree with that real just breeze over of their goals. But if we really want to narrow it down, they have that in common. They want to establish an Arab state right here where the ancient Jewish history lies, in Judea and Samaria. These folks, Peace Now, has just released a statement called War Annexation: How the Israeli Government Changed the West Bank During the First Year of the War. Now, obviously, they're coming at this in a very harsh to Israel. They really are negative about this country. They really love the Arabs, and they're really going to show that in their tone. So I've taken the opportunity to take the good out of here and to tell you guys, of which love Israel and support Israel and hate Hamas and hate what they're doing. And so we're going to flip this report around a little bit, and we're going to take the positives out. And I've got a really exciting news for you guys. They've really done a great job of bringing out some amazing things we think are amazing, they think are horrible. I'm going to bring you the amazing. Here we go. This is their intro. After a year of war in Gaza and nearly 2 years under the extreme right pro-settler government, the Israeli government's policies in the occupied West Bank has become fully apparent. Annexing the West Bank and shrinking Palestinian space in Area C. All right, end the quote there. I think that this is extraordinary. Let's talk about this. Do you think that, and this is just the opening of our whole context here of what we'll be talking about, the annexing of the West Bank, let's call it Judea and Samaria, that's what it actually is historically, if we want to be historically correct, Judea and Samaria, and shrinking Palestinian space in Area C. You real idiots. Area C is, even in the Oslo Accords, is Israeli, that's state land. So shrinking Arabs' presence in Area C is the most idiotic thing someone could ever say. And unfortunately, it's true that there are Arabs dwelling in Israeli state land, which should never happen to start with, because that was a direct, that was directly opposing the whole idea of the Oslo Accords to start with, which Israel has kept scrupulously, and the other side has rejected every form of fashion of it. Just the idea that there's Palestinians living in Area C is idiotic to start with. That's Israeli state land, okay? All right, so in essence, I think annexing, let's call it not annexing, let's say sovereignty, because it's no need to annex territory. It's not the first time. We're not taking new territory in. It's declaring sovereignty over a piece of land that has historically been Israel's already. You don't annex territory that you've already had or is yours to start with. So they again, a little bit confused on their ideology here. We're going to declare sovereignty in Israel's ancient homeland, Judea and Samaria. I think that's an amazing idea, and I'm pretty sure you do as well. And then, in order to do that, we're going to shrink the Palestinian Arab space in Area C. Now, that seems to be a no-brainer. And actually, I think they should not only shrink it, I think that we're not going to talk about A, B, and C's. I think that let's not just talk about C. Let's talk about A, B, and C and how all of that needs to be shrunk. The Oslo Accords are out the window. Well, it's a new day. We're talking about something else now. And why do you say that? You think, wow, maybe you're going crazy here on us. Well, I think that the 80% that support Hamas and the alike should be that should be that shrinking number. We should shrink it by 80%. That's what's going on right now in Gaza. That's what's going on in southern Lebanon. And that's exactly what should go down right here in Judea and Samaria. And the military is in the process of doing that. They're going to shrink that 80%, and it's going to be through war, and that's what's going on right now. Everyone that supports Hamas and the terrorists alike them need to be eliminated. That's a war. It's called war. If you have enemies that want to kill you, you kill them first. That's the rules of the game. So yeah, I think it's an amazing idea that we declare sovereignty over Judea and Samaria, and we shrink that population of enemies that wants to kill Israel, that 80% that align with Hamas ideology. And we have an amazing state of Israel, strong all the way down to its core, all the way down to the heartland in Judea and Samaria. Hey guys, we'll be right back. But first, do you know one of the best ways to support Israel right now during this war is to buy products from Israeli businesses. Our friends at Blessed by Israel ship the beautiful products of small businesses and families from Israel's heartland to people all around the world. You can buy the wonderful taste, smells, and goodness of the promised land at Blessed by Israel. They ship them directly to your doorstep. Check out the amazing extra virgin olive oil, savory spices, cosmetics, hand creams, soaps, lotions, chocolates, coffees, and much, much more. The best part about this is at the same time as you're enjoying the goodness of the land of Israel, you're also blessing the faithful pioneers who are restoring and rebuilding Judea and Samaria. That's right. Your purchases are an effective way to contribute to the strengthening of Israel. So head over to blessedby, that's B-U-Y, Israel.com to buy the wonderful products of Israel's heartland and support the pioneers of Judea and Samaria. Again, that is blessedby, B-U-Y, Israel.com. The link is in the description below. All right. Another clip here of their outline, their really scared outline here. Oh, it's tough for them. It says, and I'll quote, "This policy is being carried out through the establishment of a record number of illegal outposts, a sharp increase in the quantity of and intensity of settler violence." Described by the head of the General Security Service, Shin Bet, as Jewish terrorism. Okay. Oh, we'll continue. Closures of roads and highways and unprecedented measures to legalize and fund illegal outposts. And they keep going. At the same time, the government is completing an administrative infrastructure for the annexation of the West Bank by transferring powers from the civil administration, a military body, to the newly created settlement administration, a civil and political administration under the direct authority and control of Minister Smotrich. Okay, so this is their whole basis for where they're headed. Here's a few problems. They're saying that there's a sharp increase in so-called settler violence. Well, that's just factually incorrect. And what I would submit to you is that there's not really, settler violence is a ridiculous term. It's an anti-Semitic term. It's a Jew-hating term. It's called crime. And if you have crime, you don't label it like this. Actually that kind of crime has dropped half. It's decreased. It's not sharp rise. Absolutely not. Now, what there is a sharp rise in, and where they get this mixed up is they think the IDF and settlers are interchangeable for them. So when an IDF is responsible for going and killing a terrorist, well, that's going to be a settler crime in their opinion. So that's where these figures are completely biased and off the charts. So what we have here is a decline in violence in any kind of crime in Judea and Samaria. It's amazing. The stats here in Judea and Samaria are far below that of any country in any other part of the world you ever want to go to. Crime is so minimal here, and you have to know that. You got a lot of God-fearing people that have good morals, and that's not a part of a God-fearing culture with good morals. You don't have crime, okay? So they've got that completely wrong, and settler violence is not a thing, so they're off base there completely. And here's the real funny part is that They're saying that with the road closures and highways and unprecedented measures to legalize and fund illegal settlements. Well, you can't fund, it's not illegal anymore. You get what I'm saying? It's not illegal. If it's legal, quit calling it illegal. So the settlements of Judea and Samaria are not illegal. Remember that? Now, they're going to continue to say it's illegal. But if you're legalizing it, if the government of Israel is recognizing that it's legal, that's a weird statement you just told me. If it's legal, it's legal. You can't keep going back and forth and calling something that's legal now illegal because you don't like it, okay? So that's what they're doing there as well. All right, here we go. Here's the good news. In the communities of Judea and Samaria and the farms, just since the war broke out on October 7th, have increased like you would not believe. Get this, 43 new communities have been established. All right, that's a good thing. All right, just to give you an idea how many communities and how big of growth that is in just 1 year, from 1996 until 2003 to 2023, an average of 7 communities were established each year. And this year, 43. That's amazing, okay? New roads, new road construction. We have dozens of kilometers of new roads built in order to establish new farms all throughout Judea and Samaria. Incredible. The High Planning Council, for the purpose of establishing new housing, has planned and advanced the plans for 8,681 housing units in Judea and Samaria. I think that's phenomenal. All right, here we go. Here's some other good stuff. 24,193 dunams, about 6,000 acres, were declared as Israeli state land. All right? So that's approximately, again, so you can understand how this is, that's approximately half of all the land that was declared as state land since the Oslo Accords, right? So since 1993, this year has like we've grown a third more, right? In that process. It's funny that they would say that all this area that this would grow since Area C lands. They see it as a loss because, again, their idea of what Area C land is so far off. That's Israeli state land, okay? So this is Israel, and it's Israeli state land, and Arabs are living on it, and Israel is trying to hold on to their state lands, and this group of folks thinks that that's bad, that Israel should not have Israeli state lands, and they should not protect it and should not hold on to it because they see this as the Palestinian state. Of course, they want to see those Israeli state lands being given up to create another Arab state. All right, so in the long run, 6,000 acres of Israeli state land has been held onto, and we love that. The Israeli government voted to establish 5 new communities all throughout Judea and Samaria. That's amazing, all right? Can't get better than that. And they also voted to establish 3 other communities as neighborhoods adjoining 2 already formed communities. So that was, in essence, we really have 3 additional communities, large areas that were established as recognized communities in Judea and Samaria. All right, here's a really fun one. There's been 70 new small communities that have been recognized as eligible for funding and infrastructure. 70, okay? So that means they're not yet legalized on the charts. So like this is a recognized town and city in the state of Israel. No, it's on the way to that. They're legalizing. This is a process on the way to that full legalizing of us. Now you're a city. You're recognized in the country. Here it is. They have now begun funding these communities as well as constructing public buildings and connecting them to water, electricity, and other utilities. So this is an amazing thing. 70 more communities have been found just this year, guys. I mean, this is huge. Okay, now, so moving on to the funding and budgets. This is even incredible. On a government level, the state of Israel is beginning to back, for the first time, in broad daylight, open for the public to see, the settlement movement reestablishing Jewish presence here in Judea and Samaria. That's phenomenal. And that began when the war broke out. Used to be, there was some funding back here and back there, but this is straightforward funding. The Israeli government supports Jews living in Judea and Samaria as a foundation, as a biblical right, as a part of and a movement towards future, and it will happen one day, future sovereignty over this area. Now, the government just doubled the budget for the Ministry of settlements. So that's allocating funds to the settlement division. They added 302 million shekels to that budget. Now, 7 billion shekels were allocated to the roads in the settlements, okay? So the communities of Judea and Samaria just got $7 billion from the government to create road infrastructure throughout Judea and Samaria. I'd say that's a good thing. We just saw that here close by us. There's a Hawara bypass. Now, guess what? We don't have to go through Terrorville to get to around other places. We don't have to go through and face terrorists like my friend did in Hawara, who was shot in the head and skimmed down and hit his shoulder. Thank God he's alive. But that was his story going through Hawara. Now he can bypass that. And, of course, I don't agree that that's fixing the problem. The terrorists are still roaming there. But this is helping build infrastructure for the Jewish communities of Judea and Samaria, and that's incredible. 409 million shekels were allocated to the unique projects in the community. So this is projects like preservation of antiquities, which you guys, if you only knew how many antiquities were being stormed and destroyed here, you would go insane. There's incredible infrastructure of ancient buildings and ancient biblical history that are absolutely being destroyed by the local Arab residents in mass, and it's happening everywhere. Let's preserve them. This money is being set aside to restore places like Sebastia, the ancient headquarters of the government of Samaria. Bible. We're talking about Bible. It's strengthening the old city of Jerusalem, that holy basin that's been just left and untended. It's bringing it back. Let's restore these ancient areas. 75 million shekels have been allocated to funding small communities and farms. Now, talk about amazing. The government's getting behind the real pioneers, the ones that are pushing forward, that are holding on to land. We estimate that there's around 130,000 acres being held on to by about 60 farmers. You ever wonder why they hate the farmers so much? That's why. So 75 million shekels have been allocated to helping these farms be successful. 39 million of that are dedicated just to the sheep and cattle farms. So this is amazing. The government's getting behind those that are really pushing forward the real Zionist dream of the Jewish state here in their ancient homeland. Disregard all the garbage that you hear from every angle about Jew hating, all this stuff, and including the link in the description below where you can see the real article with all of the hater information where I actually got all this. I just, made it positive instead of, so horrible as they named it. This is the really amazing stuff that's happening. The government of Israel is behind this, and they're pushing it forward, and it's going to be successful. We'll see sovereignty here, just like what all the lefties are scared of. All the pro-Arab state. Let's have a 23rd Arab state, people. Let's have one Jewish state, for goodness sakes. And I support that wholeheartedly. Guys, there's a whole list of things that we could get into from here. But guys, let's be informed on what's actually happening here in Judea and Samaria. And I hope this information encourages you that we're on a good track. We've had a lot of hardships happening here in Israel since the war, but this is some positives that are hopefully encouraging you that, hey, we are seeing some moves in the right direction. Jews are once again, after 2,000 years of separation and dispersion from their land, are coming back and establishing it just like the prophets foretold. And hey, the amazing thing is that you can be a part of it. You can be a part of blessing these people, an amazing God-given task of reestablishing and bringing beauty back to this desolate land. Guys, this is an incredible time to live in. I hope you be a part of it. I hope you do not fight against it. That's about the worst thing you could think to do. Like most of the population of the world tend to be infuriated by the fact that these beautiful people are back in their homeland. If you're one of those, think twice. You're on the wrong side of history. Get on the right side of history, guys. And as always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect to the truth of what's actually happening here in Israel's heartland.